He received a suspended 2-year sentence on Thursday. He had a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl when he was 21. Prosecutors sought a 5-year sentence, but the judge said that Franco wouldn't serve further prison time unless he violated certain conditions. The mother of the victim was convicted of sexually trafficking her daughter. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison after prosecutors proved she sought financial gains from Franco and also laundered money. Franco is on baseball's restricted list for failure to report to the team. He's likely to have difficulty receiving a work visa in the U.S. The NASCAR Cup Series debuts its inaugural in-season challenge. 32 drivers are seeded and bracketed into a tournament. This week's race in Atlanta is tomorrow. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Have you heard? Kohl's Instant Kohl's Cash event is happening now. That's right. You can get $10 Kohl's Cash to use instantly when you spend $25 or more. Get it today and spend it today on summer must-haves from your favorite brands. Yep, you definitely don't want to miss this. Get instant Kohl's Cash while you still can at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. Offers end June 29th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply to Sephora at Kohl's. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
It's a sweet deal.
All you gotta do is just listen and start winning.
We can't make it any simpler.
Yeah, we'd be lying if we told you we hadn't considered asking for a cut.
Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, let's not know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
The best of every day now is officially underway. It is a Friday, people. We made it. We're almost to the weekend. How we get down. It's a solo mission. It's Donnie Rightside, SiriusXM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid platform here. And boy, do I got some topics today because there are some Major League Baseball spots we need to get to today. We're going to handicap every single game on the Major League Baseball card. I have 2 RBI props, which I already gave out on the early line, which I'll go over and tell you exactly the reason why I love them and how we can be profitable tonight. We do have a lot of pitchers stayed on the card over the past 30 days with xFIPs above a 4.75. So you know we are going to be digging in. And also, some sneaky spots out there that possibly could get runs that maybe some people might be anticipating those runs being in. Laid low yesterday with picking Major League Baseball games. And to be quite frank, I don't think I would have made money yesterday. Looking at some of the options that I did like, I thought the Mets would get over 5 runs yesterday, scored 4. But I did get a nice plus 240 prop on McNeil in that game. But I think overall, it wouldn't have been all that profitable. So maybe good that I laid low on a Thursday. And by the way, all-day baseball games just tend to do better and handicap games better at night. Like Sunday afternoon, sometimes a little bit tricky. And obviously on those big getaway days like we saw in Major League Baseball on a Thursday, those tricky as well. Darren's in the chat box. Jordan's in the chat box. As away we go. And if you want to get into the chat box, it's easy. If you're listening now, look, while you're driving, maybe you don't want to pick up the cell phone here and dial in. But it's on YouTube. It's 3 words. SportsGrid on demand. Hit the subscribe button. Come in here and say hello. Any information that you have. Hot pick for tonight. Question to ask for the show. That's where we're always taking a look at least one of my monitors. Always up there on YouTube. So that's the way we get down. But the NBA draft also had some highlights yesterday, which we will get to. Some big names actually didn't go into the draft, which actually now are being signed in those 2-way contracts. We'll get to that. We'll have the fallout from day number 1 into day number 2. Some interesting things that the NBA does still that really get me upset. We will get to that as well. But more importantly here, the news cycle never ends. And usually we say that about the NFL. Like they're so good at keeping themselves in the business here for all 365 days. Well, the NBA is doing that once again. And if you watched on night one of the NBA draft, it, of course, wasn't where Cooper Flagg was going to go. We knew it would be number one. We knew it would be to Dallas. Same thing with Dylan Harper. Star guard out of Rutgers. We knew he was going to San Antonio. But number three, we always thought, based on when the ping pong balls landed, that, oh, look at that, the Sixers in the third pick, that 100% is going to be Ace Bailey. Now, Ace Bailey does drop to 5 because he's getting terrible advice, or should I say got terrible advice, from whoever is managing him here. The goal is to get drafted as high as possible, with the most money as possible, and see how that can work out. But his thought process, or I shouldn't say his, maybe his handlers per se, their thought process was like, let's drop down to get you to a team that stinks, and then we can certainly work our way in and we can develop you because you can take as many shots as you want and it doesn't matter. That raises eyebrows right away. But also looking at that top 5 and the way it played out. Like Ace Bailey was never going to the Dallas Mavericks. Ace Bailey was never going to the San Antonio Spurs. There was a chance for an Ace Bailey to go to the Philadelphia 76ers, the Charlotte Hornets, and also the Utah Jazz, along with Washington, and then New Orleans. And then you figure like maybe he could slip to Brooklyn at that point, right? If he was telling teams he doesn't want to get drafted. But here's the interesting part about that overall is he didn't want to go to Philadelphia, which is a team that looks like it's going to make the playoffs, but he can't come in and be that ultra key competitor. But again, he's a number 3 overall pick. We're not saying Cooper Flagg can't come into a playoff-ready team like the Dallas Mavericks and can't compete. Yes, Flagg is much, much better than Ace Bailey, certainly at this point of his career. But the upside on Ace Bailey is really high. And the thoughts of, hey, maybe he can be a mini Kevin Durant or something that, down the line, and we'll see what happens. A Tracy McGrady, if you will. But he goes past the Sixers. Sixers take VJ Edgecombe because they don't want to deal with the headaches. And if he doesn't want to be here, let me just take a kid that wants to be here that we think can be a superstar guard in the NBA. Con Knippel goes to the Charlotte Hornets. They think he can be that switchblade player, hit the open three-point shot, really played well for the Duke Blue Devils as their guy, as a piece to the future puzzle on them making playoff runs. Then we got to Utah, which is no question in my mind is a bad basketball team, but players don't want to go to Utah. They just don't want to. It's a beautiful city, but bars close early. It's not a destination city, but it is a bad organization. So the Ace Bailey crew was like, you know what? It'd be great if we got to Washington, if we got to New Orleans, if we got to Brooklyn. Those are the 3 spots we want to go. And probably told, much like the Philadelphia 76ers and Charlotte, don't bother with us here. Don't bother. We're not going to play here. We don't want to go there. These are the options that we want to go to. And Danny Ainge goes, you know what? We got tripped up, I guess you could say, trying to fight and focus on just tanking the season. And we ended up with the 5th pick instead of the number 1 overall pick, which would have been Cooper Flagg. So it's like, you know what? This guy should not be here at 5. He should have been taken at 3. He's the 3rd best player in the draft. We're taking him here no matter what. So to make a long story short today, Evan Sidery, who's come on the early line with us in the past, he sent a tweet out this morning, which I thought was fascinating, and I love to buy into this right away. Ace Bailey did not fly with fellow first-round pick Walter Clayton Jr. to Utah after being drafted, per Brian Windhorst of ESPN. Bailey is expected to show up in Salt Lake City by Monday, but then it says if he doesn't show, Bailey could be holding out from the team. So as well as like how the draft process works with the high draft picks. In the NBA, basically everybody's a high draft pick. There's only 2 picks. But you see it all the time in the NFL. Like those players, like if you are the first round draft pick for, let's just say, the Philadelphia Eagles. And all right, boom. Here's the pick comes down the line. Here's who it is. It's Jihad Campbell. Jihad, stay put where you're at. We're going to fly the private jet out to pick you up, bring you in, first-class treatment. That's what you do. That's what you do for the first rounders, whether it be the Washington Commanders, the San Francisco 49ers, doing all the same things. Then if you're round 2, 3, or 4, hey, here's first-class ticket, or if you're close, we'll Uber, not Uber you in, that's the wrong thing, but chauffeur you in here if you live within an hour or 2 of the city, like first-class service all the way through. So if you are the Utah Jazz and Ace Bailey is picked in the first round, and also you then get Walter Clayton Jr. picked in the first round, you're probably sending a private jet to pick those guys up. Hey, fly one down to Walter Clayton Jr., fly one down to wherever Ace Bailey is at. And for the fact that Ace Bailey is like, nah, I'm good, and I'll probably be there Monday, check in later, that's ultimately a red flag right away. These guys want you in the building as soon as possible to meet the press, sign all the things you need to sign, get used to your surroundings here, automatically get you with a real estate agent, automatically get you hooked up with some people in town. Like, all right, well, now I got to start the process of acclimating and moving to your city here so you can hit the ground running by the time you're ready for summer league and or summer workouts and then into training camp, which is already coming up soon in the fall in the month of September. You see that? So the fact that he's already staying out, but also I thought the way this tweet was worded, which was really interesting here. Again, expected to show up Monday, but then if he doesn't, he could be holding out. Have we heard anything from his camp here in the past couple hours? Like usually you get word right away when stuff hits social media like this. I don't know where that report came from. Ace has just had a family thing he was taking care of, had a couple things that he wanted to do. He will be there Monday for a press conference. Don't you worry about it. But the fact that we're not getting that information is very, very interesting. Like, is he planning a holdout? We don't ever see this in the NBA. Top 5 pick doesn't like his city, told you not to pick him, and I'm not going to do that. So Danny Ainge and Ace Bailey and his handlers in a stare down already, less than 24 hours after getting drafted. Amazing place. The NBA, it's fantastic. We'll be back. It's Moneyline. More hot topics on the way.
Of summer have returned and taken the field for the great American pastime. You should monetize that. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With your news flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Progressive. Windows' infamous blue screen of death will soon turn black. After more than 40 years of being set against a very recognizable blue, the updated error message will soon be displayed across a black background. The change to the notorious error screen comes as part of broader efforts by Microsoft to improve the resiliency of the Windows operating system in the wake of last year's CrowdStrike incident, which crashed millions of Windows machines worldwide. The Justice Department said it intends to try Kilmar Abrego Garcia on federal smuggling charges in Tennessee before it moves to deport him, addressing fears that he could be expelled again from the U.S. within days. U.S. Magistrate Judge Barbara Holmes in Nashville recently ruled that Abrego Garcia has a right to be released from jail while awaiting trial on the smuggling charges, but she decided Wednesday to keep him in custody for at least a few more days. I'm Trey Westerberg with your news flash.
Have you heard? Kohl's Instant Kohl's Cash event is happening now. That's right. You can get $10 Kohl's Cash to use instantly when you spend $25 or more. Get it today and spend it today on summer must-haves from your favorite brands. Yep, you definitely don't want to miss this. Get instant Kohl's Cash while you still can at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. Offers end June 29th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply to Sephora at Kohl's. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out, because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Luck is a word losers use. If you think winning is only a matter of chance,
you must be new here.
We give you sports gaming strategies and information that changes outcomes others flip a coin over. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Day 2 of the draft was yesterday, which was round number 2. And I got to tell you this. So I'm going to get to some of the breaking news that came out in just a moment. But I have to question this. Do we need 2 days of the NBA draft on TV? I'm just saying. Can't we just squeeze that into one night? The reason I bring that up is it looked like they had the day number 2 out of the arena and into like a little auxiliary room had like a live studio audience clapping for each pick. I thought it was kind of interesting. And the reason why I said that is when I tuned into it, and I tuned in late because I really didn't care. I even forgot the Philadelphia 76ers had a pick, which turned to be Janai Broom. We'll get to some of those second day guys in just a moment. But like I was hearing like Malika Andrews talk, and it sounded like she was just in like an empty room talking. And it was just odd because you go from that bigness of the arena with multiple studios and everybody engaged in it to sort of like this little family atmosphere where they would like back screen and then went into like the arena part. It was really odd to watch it play out. But I have to say this. I'm looking at round number 2. And it's like round number 1 went through, right? You said, okay, Flag, we know he went to Dallas. Harper, we know he went to the San Antonio Spurs. Edgecombe to the Sixers. Knipple to Charlotte. Ace Bailey to Utah. Trey Johnson to Washington. You get the point that, like, we knew that. They came up on stage, they put the hat on. Things start to go a little bit haywire when there are trades, and we do see that a lot. But the fact is, like, the first 9 guys that go, there's no trades. After that, like, everybody is putting on a different hat than they're supposed to have. In round number 2, like, I'm just going to go over, like, the differences, like, straight through all the way. Like, in the NFL, there are trades from time to time in the first 3 rounds. We understand that. But let's just say if there's 32 NFL teams, maybe 2 trades per round, second round, third round. You get that? Maybe that's even, like, too expensive, per se. Too many. But, like, the Fleming trade, he was traded. First round pick, or excuse me, the second pick of the first round. Penda, trading pick. Kalkbrenner, traded pick. Thero, traded pick. Lanier, traded. Like, everybody was putting on hats to teams they will never play for. And I know we say it like day number 2, like, oh, we saw that. But it just got even exacerbated on day number 2, where it's like, this doesn't, like, every pick you're putting a hat on will never play for that team. There has to be a better way around it. Maybe they'll fix it. Maybe they won't. But 2 days of the draft, interesting stuff overall. Now, there were some, guys that went on day number 2, which I thought were Jani Broom to the Philadelphia 76ers, big name guy. Thero ended up going in round number 2 to Brooklyn. Cam Jones, the guard out of Marquette, he goes to the San Antonio Spurs. But see, am I even saying the right names here at this point? Like, I didn't watch the second round. Is Cam Jones actually on Marquette? Or excuse me, not Marquette. The Spurs? Or is he in Indiana? I'm not, to be honest, I'm looking at this, and this is what's confusing me as well. Let me see if I know somebody who got drafted somewhere. I don't even, like, they're all traded. Like, did Proctor go to Milwaukee? Or Cleveland? But he's in Milwaukee, so I think the right side is the team they're on now. So I want to say, like, Thero went to L.A. Lanier from Toronto via Dallas, but the Pistons, get out of town. I'm not even worried about that now. We'll figure out where these guys went then. But the best available players, which are now signing 2-way contracts, like Eric Dixon of Villanova, one of the best scorers in college basketball, didn't get drafted. Vlad Golden, center from Michigan, I know he ended up going down south to Miami. Other names on the list, Ryan Lewis Jr. out of St. John's. Ryan Nembhard didn't get drafted. Chucky Hepburn of Louisville. Mark Sears of Alabama. Grant Nelson from Alabama. Big name guys. Omenuri from Alabama. Caleb Love from Arizona didn't get drafted. Anybody else all the way far down this list of some names we heard? Let's go. Go and keep going. R.J. Davis did not get drafted. Zakai Ziegler didn't get drafted. Normia Ochad, or Norchad Omir, excuse me. Baylor via Miami. L.J. Cryer. Now I'm going to go, is that all? Yeah, that's all the prospects they have on that list right there. Yeah, it's crazy. Francisco Carrasco in the chat box says, I stopped watching it to the 10th pick. I fell asleep. Most like everybody else. Outside of the top 10, yeah, you know the players, but where they're going to wind up, not really of the biggest issue. But I tell you what, one of the biggest issues and storylines today was, by far, Masai Ujiri is out as vice chairman and president of the Toronto Raptors. Sources tell ESPN. That was a Shams Charania tweet today. So one of those guys that was thought to be the prince of basketball, as I like to say, winning the 2018-2019 NBA championship with the Toronto Raptors and that 58-win team, made the bold move and the decision to go out and get Kawhi Leonard, which they did lose in free agency. But after that championship, 53-19 the following season, lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The following year, 27-45, no playoffs. The year after that, they put it back together, 48 wins, 34 losses, but they got knocked out in the Eastern Conference first round. The following season after that, 41-41, no playoffs. Season after that, 25-57, no playoffs. Last year, 30-52, no playoffs here. This is a league that you absolutely are coaching and GMing and vice presidenting on a year-to-year basis, because the minute that you don't do something positive, your job feels like it's on the line. You are hired to be fired. And if you're not performing in this what have you done for me lately scenario, you're eventually going to be gone. And quite frankly, like you look at that, if you just take that year in 2019-2020, the year after the NBA championship where they went to the Eastern Conference semis and lost, you then say, okay, you had 5 seasons after that. You made the playoffs one time and you didn't win a series. That's hard to escape. So even how talented you are in the NBA and how much they liked you, you have to be accountable on a year-to-year basis. It's not hard to make the playoffs in the NBA with a half-average team. It's not. So you go 5 years, 1 playoff trip, bounced in the first round, and you don't appear in the playoffs again? That's incredible. And he's out. Now he's going to find a job before you can, before word hits the street, as you can say. He had 1 year left on his deal, and he's out now. Where does he reappear? Does he go to television? Does he take the year off? Does he immediately go with another franchise of like a special assistant or a person that's just going to come in and do like an audit of the organization? We don't know. But basketball, trying to catch up to the NFL as hot topics all the way around, they've been doing a pretty good job with that. You want more hot topics next, which includes a Major League Baseball handicap? You're getting it next right here on Moneyline.
Stamping out the boredom in baseball year after year. We bring you all the angles, insights, and information you need. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
In 1988, Mike Tyson KOs Michael Spinks in 91 seconds in Atlantic City.
And he's down again and in serious trouble. A right hand right on the chin.
He's not going to make it. It's all over.
With the knockout, Iron Mike improved to 35-0 as a professional fighter. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
To understand the consequences of technology advancing faster than human evolution, University of Texas researchers have created an electronic face tattoo. Wirelessly monitoring brain waves and pupil dilation, detecting mental strain without bulky headgear. To understand the stress of workers in professions like truck driving or air traffic controllers, where mental lapses can have serious consequences. Ouch. The big question, does the tattoo come off?
Why does it say lab specimen on your forehead?
Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Football full circle.
I don't think NFL owners, for the most part, want to win a Super Bowl. What they want to do is they want to be competitive. They want to be able to sell tickets. They want to be able to sell hope. Are they ever going to take that next step with Baker specifically? I don't think so. But they're still the best team in the division. I never thought that Todd Bowles was head coach of the Jets that we'd be sitting here now and we'd be singing his praises. I'll tell you that.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Scott Wetzel. Weekdays, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Have you noticed how hard it is these days to find something to believe?
Nonsense is everywhere.
But at SportsGrid,
we put our mouth where your money is. Because if we're ever wrong,
you wouldn't win.
Get it?
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Baseball, 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 people. It's the dog days of summer already. Like, ow, no, that's not till August. No, it feels like it's now. NBA draft is done. Free agency is going to step up to the plate there, but, you get maybe a day or two of enjoyment out of that in the month of July. Next Friday, not this Friday, today, is the 4th of July. When's the official start of the summer months for you guys? Is it the 4th of July? Is it when it hits July? Is it just when your kid, if you have a kid, gets out of school at that point? Or if you're listening and you're in college or high school, is it like the day I get out of high school, that's officially the start of the summer? Like for me as an adult, I'm trying to figure out like when I say summer, because I still look at like June. And I know it is summer, but like it doesn't feel like saying summer until like July per se. Like it still feels like late spring. Even though, the summer solstice is the official start, like the 20th or the 21st of the month. But I just look at the dog days of summer. Always feels like late July, early August at that point. That's at least for me. How about for you guys out there? Anything in the chat box when your official start? Is it Memorial Day? Like last week of May? It's like, okay, once you hit that, summer's here, we party all the way through, and then we close it down on Labor Day, late in the summer? Is that the way it goes? Because for me, summer is just I like warm weather, don't get me wrong. It's much better than freezing cold. But there is absolutely nothing that beats September, October, and November. Nothing. Football, cooler temperatures, which again, I like heat better than cold, but cool temperatures where it's like, okay, we go from 80 degrees and we drop down to hoodie weather and sweatpants, and you have that crisp smell in the air, big football games that week, Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays, Maction during the week. I love that. But for me, summer as an elder, as I like to say in my late 40s, probably 4th of July. Like next week, it's summer. July 1, that starts summer, which is Tuesday. And then the 4th, obviously, being next Friday. That's just the vibe I get from that for me. But we're going to hit that. And I talked with Joe Ranieri on the early line this morning. Boy, I'm telling you, there's no worse week. And I use it as you know me, I love my make me commissioner type segments. Make me commissioner of Major League Baseball. We don't have an all-star break. We're supposed to be, I always like to say, I'm for the people. I'm the common here. I always, for the people is what we want to do. You can't tell me that if you would be against that. Who would be against removing the all-star game from when it comes into our lives? I'm not saying you don't have the all-star game, but come on, man. We don't need a week off. There's only so much you could do. Hey, that Monday, ooh, fun. Home run derby, which is fun for 5 seconds. Back. Yeah, we don't need that anymore, Chris Berman. Don't come back for this. Or the all-star game itself. And then the dead Wednesday. And probably a dead Thursday before you get back to Friday. We don't need that. We don't. We just need to play it out. And by the way, training camp is coming up, all that good stuff. But sometimes it's just the vent where, I don't know if it's in your field. I can't stand tax day, right? If you're self-employed or 1099 and you got to pay money. Nobody likes to wait for tax day. People hate tax day at that point. You lose money on that day. The day after a vacation, you have a wonderful trip. You take it to the Caribbean, you go to Hawaii, you go to Florida, wherever you went. You go back at the office, your emails are piled up. If you're a salesman, you're behind already. You know what I mean? Look at all this work. Oh, you missed the training last week. Let me get you caught up on the drama here. It's no, there are days that you don't necessarily like. And for me, that whole week, dreaded. I'll be in the middle of football season in October, and I'll be man, that 1 week where we don't have Major League Baseball and in the summer months and how you just can only talk about the New York Yankees and where they sit in the standings so many times. You get that, right? That's the way it is. But I just always get that negative energy that comes up at the All-Star break, which can be avoided. If we don't have a Major League Baseball All-Star break, wouldn't that just be great? Or how about this? I know they're not going to do this either. Can't we have Friday, day games? The All-Stars fly out for a Saturday night All-Star game. Then we take off Sunday, and then we just get back to playing on a Monday. Can't we do it better than this? Weeks off, the NBA does it as well. I think damn near a week off. Stop it. Enough with that. Just a little food for thought at that point as we start to break down the Major League Baseball schedule. And by the way, today, I'm not seeing here, 4.75 or higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitchers on the card today. Let's find those fade spots. Let's find those RBI props. Let's get down to business next, right on a Friday edition of Moneyline.
If you ever hear a Taylor Swift song here,
something has gone horribly wrong.
We only give you sports gaming strategies and information you need. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The NASCAR Cup Series debuts its inaugural in-season challenge. 32 drivers are seeded and bracketed into a tournament. The series runs for 5 weeks. Seeding's based on finishes at the previous 3 races, Michigan, Mexico City, and Pocono. This week's Cup Series race at Atlanta is on Saturday. The winner of the series takes home $1 million. Baseball on Thursday, the Mets shut out the Braves 4-0. The victory moved New York back into first place in the NL East, a half game over the Phillies. They dropped their third straight 2-1 at Houston. The Rays shut out the Royals 4-0. The Cubs scored a 3-0 win over the Cardinals in St. Louis. The Dodgers beat the Rockies 3-1. The Marlins pounded the Giants 12-5. A big 10-1 win for the Twins at home over the Mariners. The Blue Jays shut out the Guardians 6-0. The Tigers shut out the A's 8-0. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Let's keep it real.
Baseball can be boring.
That's where SportsGrid comes in.
Nothing livens up those 9 innings like sports gaming. You might experience something you've never felt in a baseball game, a quickened pulse. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Updated shout-outs in a lively chat box today. You look, your boy DRS is in there. Of course I am in there. Darren's in there. Jordan P is in there. Aaron is in there. Who else is in here? We got Francisco. We got Andrew G. Everybody's popping here. It's good. It's a Friday. It's how you get down. SportsGrid On Demand on YouTube. Get in the chat box. Have some fun. The best way to watch the radio shows live is right there on your YouTube channel. All right. So let's get back into the mix here. Major League Baseball card today. Let's start with the pitchers. And I'm going to go over some interesting statistical anomalies here to start. What if I told you, and again, these are minimum of 5 innings pitched. Of course, we don't want to just weigh on 5 and 10 innings, but I do want to pick out some spots here on pitchers that's like, okay, where do we go from here? Logan Gilbert of Seattle, best xFIP pitcher on the card. Now, granted, he's only had 10 innings pitched here, which I believe is 2 starts that he had. 1 bad start, 1 good start. His ERA is a 5.40, but yet he has the best xFIP on the card. Do you trust it or not? The number 2 pitcher on the card, it's Brandon Walter, 18 2/3 innings pitched here through 3 starts over the past 30 days. His xFIP is 2.43. His ERA is 4.82. Man, how could that be? That's kind of wacky. We sort of moved down the list. Will Warren of the New York Yankees has the 10th best xFIP on the card today at a 29 pitchers. But he's got a 5.84 ERA. That's incredible. You take a look here at Sawyer Gipson Long for the Detroit Tigers. He's got a 4.5 ERA, but an xFIP of 3.94. Some of those statistical anomalies that sort of give you a brain bender at that point, but those are some of the guys that's like, okay, we'll probably stay away, but there are instances that I do want to take care of. I told you, 8 pitchers on the card today with a 4.75 xFIP number or higher. Typically like it in that 4.55 range, which would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 pitchers here in the danger zone. Jake Irvin of the Washington Nationals, Landon Raup of the San Francisco Giants, Tomoyuki Sogano of Baltimore, he's at a 4.86. Then closer to 5, Aaron Savali, pitching with his new team today, 4.98. Yuri Perez of the Miami Marlins, he's only at 11 2/3 innings pitched, but his xFIP number is at a 5 even. David Festa of Minnesota, he's got a 5.05. By the way, his ERA, guys, 10 over the last month. Nick Martinez, that guy's going to get faded today by me in one way, shape, or form. 21 and a third innings pitched over his last month, a 7 ERA and a 5.13 xFIP number. Mick Abel, the Philadelphia Phillies, those sensational starts to start the season, they're gone right now. His ERA rising higher. His xFIP number, 5.18. I got a great fadeable spot for Mick Abel today, which we'll go over on the card also. Jose Quintana, one of those guys I can't stand. 20 and a third innings pitched over the past month, a 3.54 ERA, which is good. But his xFIP number, 5.76. He's supposed to get slapped, and yet this guy slips between the cracks all the time. The worst pitcher on the card today, 23 innings pitched. How about Dustin May of the Los Angeles Dodgers with a 5 ERA and a 5.98 xFIP number? Extremely high here. All right, let's start to take a look at this Major League Baseball card because the formula is laid out. We have some good spots that we certainly can get to. We're just going game order chronologically tonight. New York and Pittsburgh. Peterson versus Keller. 6:40 start, 9:01, 9:02 on the rotation. 8 is the current total now with 8.5s mixed in. The total, which had Peterson as a high favorite of minus 164 overnight, that has dipped down at most outlets to as low as a minus 135, but primarily still in the minus 140s. Peterson will be on the mound going up against a lineup which you guys know I hate, the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have a couple batters in the lineup that make sense. Andrew McCutchen, Brian Reynolds, Nick Gonzalez, and Jared Triolo. But I don't like that because why? David Peterson, if we look at the card today, where does he come in at? Let's see what we got here. David Peterson, 11th out of 29. 3.31 ERA, 3.55 xFIP number. He's off the card. Temperatures out there, by the way, in Pittsburgh, 80 degrees with a light wind blowing in from right field. It's not bad temperatures, but I don't like anybody on that card. Mitch Keller on the other side. Where is he coming in on our card today? He's actually 15th. 4.80 ERA, which is a little bit elevated. A 3.99 xFIP number, which isn't bad. However, I always like that Mets lineup. Like Jeff McNeil was a plus 240 yesterday on Bet365 for an RBI. He got a couple of those yesterday. Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, McNeil, Vientos, and Mauricio all have really high ISO power numbers and weighted on base percentages. But here's the problem, right? Like Mitch Keller doesn't strike out batters, which is always going to be a problem and raise your xFIP number, which he's around a 4, which isn't bad. But the weighted on base percentages here are extremely low. It's one where I say to myself, like, I do think there's a chance that the Mets do hit Mitch Keller, but I think there might be better opportunities out there across the board. So that game number 1, not really going to be much of a play for me. Athletics and the Yankees, game number 2, Spence and Warren, 9:13, 9:14 on the rotation, 7:05 start tonight. It's from the Bronx. Heavy favorite for the Yankees overnight, minus 225 price. That now sitting as high as a minus 267 at multiple outlets. An 8.5 total. Still sits at 8.5 at most outlets. There is an 8 sitting at DraftKings here. So if we look at this game today, that is going to be, as we said, Mitch Spence. And Mitch Spence is coming in. Where are you at, Mitch? 16th on the card at a 29, a 2.96 ERA, and a 4.03 xFIP number. Now, again, you look at Mitch Spence, he gets in trouble. Why? Not a big strikeout pitcher. Over the past 30 days, 15% K rate, which will get you in trouble. Temperatures today in New York, 70 degrees with a wind blowing in at 8 miles per hour. Not unbelievably good conditions, but not terribly unbelievable. 70, 8-mile wind blowing in, not that big of a deal. Spence doesn't strike guys out, tends to struggle with power bats from the left-hand side. On the season, 107 lefties he's faced. That's a 385 weighted on base percentage and a 200 ISO. But when we go to 30 days, it's a high weighted on base percentage of lefties, but not a lot of power there. So if you were looking at lefties, like Christian might make some sense. Ben Rice makes some sense in the middle of that lineup. Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm. But I don't know, like I'm going to put down a star here for the Yankees lineup so I can remember this for later. Because there are some players that make some sense, but if there are better options on the card, not really going to do that one. Not really going to hang out that way. The Athletics on the other side, going up against Will Warren, which I told you had one of those crazy splits. 24 and 2/3 innings pitched. How about a 6 ERA or close to a 6 ERA, but a 3.55 xFIP number. Now, Will Warren does struggle with left-handed batters. And as you know, that short porch out there in right field always is calling your name. Lefties in the lineup today with a chance to do damage, Nick Kurtz and Tyler Soderstrom. So if we take a look at Kurtz and Soderstrom, we'll write down the A's here as a chance. So there are some batters that I like in this game. And we'll see if we can weigh it out. And let me just do a quick check as well, because let's go to Fangraphs here. And I just want to check one thing. No, not gang graphs, Fangraphs, people. Okay? All right, so let me see what we got here. So we are going to go over to Will Warren's page, because I want to see how drastic these splits are. Because sometimes it's the difference between, just getting unlucky at this point? Or no, there's a really good chance that if you take a couple left-handed batters for the Sacramento A's today, that's going to change. So we'll go to game log. 6 2/3, 2 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Like, he's had some solid starts. Got roughed up a little bit late May and early June, but he's been decent since then. But if we look at the splits tool here and bring that up, I just want to see his splits between home and away. Home for Will Warren is a 286, which is really good. Away rises to 321. But how's he been doing? First month of the season, 331 weighted on base percentage. Second month of the season, 303. Third month of the season, 276. So he's getting better and better. But I didn't really care about the weighted on base percentages. I just want to see the xFIP number. Versus lefties on the season, 379. At home, as a total, it's a 3. On the road, it's 321. Home to lefties is 385. See where we're going with this? Even though he has struggled over the past 30 days per se with lefties with a little bit of power numbers, those numbers really don't equate to me to get excited. Like, if I would have solved that split level, let's just say, from home to lefties at 385, or let's just say 685, like something really bad as opposed to his road splits at 2.13, yeah, then we might have had something here. But he is pitching well at Yankee Stadium per se, and I don't want to risk it there. So maybe from an A's perspective, we might back off, and then we'll take a look at some of those props still from the New York Yankees on that side of things. But we got a long way to go on this Major League Baseball card. We're filtering out some of the teams not to take and giving some ideas to the players and teams we want to take tonight. That's how we do it. It's Moneyline on a Friday. It's Donnie Rightside. I will be right back.
This is sports gaming information you can use. Expert analysis on odds, insights, and strategies you can literally take to the bank. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Baseball on Thursday, the Mets shut out the Braves 4-0. The victory moved New York back into first place in the NL East, a half game over the Phillies. They dropped their third straight 2-1 at Houston. The Rays shut out the Royals 4-0. The Cubs scored a 3-0 win over the Cardinals in St. Louis. The Dodgers beat the Rockies 3-1. The Marlins pounded the Giants 12-5. A big 10-1 win for the Twins at home over the Mariners. The Blue Jays shut out the Guardians 6-0. The Tigers shut out the A's 8-0. The NASCAR Cup Series debuts its inaugural in-season challenge. 32 drivers are seeded and bracketed into a tournament. The series runs for 5 weeks. Seeding's based on finishes at the previous 3 races, Michigan, Mexico City, and Pocono. This week's Cup Series race at Atlanta is on Saturday. The winner of the series takes home $1 million. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
What's the one sale you can't miss? It's the Macy's One Day Sale. Come into Macy's and find the best prices of the month on thousands of incredible summer deals. From Levi's shorts for just $29.99 to guys fresh Alfani sneakers for the same price. From microfiber sheet sets $9.99 to $19.99 to over half off a 2-carat total weight diamond bridal set ring. Half off. It's a day unlike any other day. The Macy's One Day Sale. Today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Ah, springtime. When a young man's fancy turns to...
Get your mind out of the gutter.
For sports gaming strategies and information that gives you an unfair advantage, you'll find it all right here.
It's the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back to the capping, people. Yankees have circled here. We'll see if we can fit them in and how that goes. But let's keep on going down the card itself. Baltimore and Tampa. This game's going to be played at Camden Yards. Pepio versus Sugano, 9-11, 9-12 in the rotation, 7 o'clock start. 116 favorite overnight, now is up as high as a 136 at DraftKings. A total which opened up at 9. Most outlets showing 9s and 8.5s here. If we look at Ryan Pepio on the card, let's see where he comes in today. Number 6, 2.01 ERA and a 3.18 xFIP number. That is stellar, so we will not be using any of the Baltimore Orioles, even though some of those guys have good statistics over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching. Sugano's a right-hander, struggling on the season. I got struggling on the season. Sort of a leap there. 167 ISO, weighted on base percentage, 337 against right-handed batters, but that does increase over his last 50 batters. Here's the interesting part. Like, Tampa now is a really good hitting team. 75-degree temperatures here. Wind blowing in from right field today, about 8 miles per hour. So not bad conditions there. We'd like to see that wind blowing out. But some good weighted on base percentages over the first 5 guys in the lineup. Diaz, Lowe, Caminero, or Lau, I should say. Diaz, Lau, Caminero, Aranda, and Mangum in that lineup. Let's see Sugano's numbers here. He's 22nd out of 29 pitchers on the card. 4.58 ERA, 4.86 xFIP number. Not a big strikeout guy. So you probably would look at right-handed batters. Like, I'm going to write down right now. So we'll go Tampa. And a couple guys that I like there is Yandy Diaz in that leadoff spot. And then also Junior Caminero in that third spot. Just trying to line up some right-handed bats, which looks like, from a power perspective, Sugano has struggled a bit with. I think those would be 2 names that certainly would be viable here. We'll keep moving down the list. St. Louis and Cleveland today. And that's Sonny Gray versus Luis Ortiz. 9:21, 9:22 on the rotation. Game's at 7 o'clock start tonight. 8.5 is the total favorite. Mid-130s there for St. Louis and Sonny Gray. If we look at the temperatures here, 83 degrees with a wind blowing out at double digits. Like to see that in Cleveland. That's a pitcher's ballpark, but that helps today. Sonny Gray is on the mound, number 4 on the card today with a 2.78 ERA and a 2.72 xFIP number. We are not going to fade anybody. Sonny Gray, we're not going to take any of these bats. We're going to fade them going up against Sonny Gray. Luis Ortiz, right-handed pitcher, struggling with lefties this year. And Luis Ortiz on the ticket today. Where does he pop in? He's actually 7th on the card. 3.49 ERA, 3.23 xFIP number. Does struggle a little bit with lefties. Donovan, Burleson, Nootbaar, Gorman, and Scott due to be up there. But should we hold off? I'm going to write just St. Louis down with an asterisk here. I do want to revisit that. There's some bats from the left-hand side that might make some sense and also maybe get the splits down where it's like, hey, man, you know what? He's locked. Luis Ortiz is locked down, ISO power number-wise, with right-handed batters. And by the way, his last 62 right-handed batters he's faced, guys, that's a 0 ISO power number. That's incredible. But I'm going to write that down. Let's keep moving. Minnesota and Detroit tonight. And I'm seeing Sawyer Gipson-Long going up against David Festa. Festa's always a guy I'm always interested in fading here. And if we look at Festa in this game, favorite here towards Detroit. And that's about 125 to 126. But I'm showing Gipson-Ong. Sawyer Gipson-Long, which on my odds board says Gipson-Ong. I'm like, who's that guy? Yeah, it's the same guy here, D. You didn't get it together at this point. If we look at Sawyer Gipson, where's he at on the card today? 12th overall, 4.58 ERA, which is high. Lower xFIP number at 3.94. Struggles with right-handed batters, which Byron Buxton would be one of those guys. Carlos Correa in that lineup. Who else would be a righty? I guess that would be probably the best of it there. But which way would you trust? So I'm going to write down again, Twins. Because as long as there's something like interesting that you can get back to and maybe things change with the order, it's always worth writing down. David Festa stinks. Left-handed batters have smashed him this year, so have right-handed batters. Festa is 25th out of 29 on the card today, 10 ERA, 5.05. So we are writing down the Tigers like immediately here. And temperatures 83 degrees with a wind really blowing out sort of to left field at 9 miles per hour, more of a crosswind. But if you're looking at lefties that can hammer, Colt Keith, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Wenzel Perez, the normal suspects in there, right? The usual suspects. 8 out of 9 guys with high ISO power numbers, maybe even a decent spot for a team total, but certainly the Tigers in some way, shape, or form should be on your cards tonight. Toronto and Boston, Red Sox and the Blue Jays today. That's Barrios versus Bayo, roughly a pick 'em across the board depending on where you're shopping at. Total in this game listed at 8.5. Barrios comes in with a low ERA of 2.03 in the past month and a 4.04 xFIP number, which is elevated. Brian Bayo comes in, 30 innings pitched, 2.40 ERA, and a 3.94 xFIP number. Maybe lay off that game. San Diego and Cincinnati. 85-degree temperatures, wind blowing out to left. Love to see it. Dylan Cease on the mound today for the San Diego Padres. And his number today is a favorite, minus 135, give or take, and the total that's listed at 9. 4.13 ERA for Cease, 3.45 xFIP number, but some good batters in the lineup. I'm not focused on Cincinnati here, guys. Nick Martinez is on the mound. 26th pitcher out of 29 today in xFIP numbers. ERA 7.17, xFIP 5.13. Manny Machado is one of my favorite batters on the card today. So you should be writing down the Padres and Mr. Manny Machado to get an RBI tonight. I love it. Right-handed batters have smacked Nick Martinez. I want to see that final lineup because it might be a team total just to fade Nick Martinez and hope the Padres bats wake up today, which they might. But certainly, this should be a pretty good environment for hitting from a San Diego perspective. Philadelphia and Atlanta. I told you, Mick Abel, like the guy, but he's really been struggling and extremely struggling against left-handed batters. This game went from a minus 140 to a minus 180 at a lot of outlets in the favor for the Atlanta Braves. Just shows you how much Abel has struggled lately. 79-degree temperatures in Atlanta, wind blowing out slightly to left field. I love Matt Olson in this lineup tonight to get an RBI for the Atlanta Braves. Take a look at these numbers against lefties from Mick Abel. 488 ISO, 471 weighted on base percentage over the past month. Over his last 55 batters, ISO power number 385, weighted on base percentage of 409. You're looking for left-handed batters in that lineup with good numbers. Olson has the best. Take him at a positive price. He should do some damage against Philadelphia tonight. Next game up is San Francisco and the Chicago White Sox. Had Tom Vecchio on today. He likes the over in that game. We'll continue. A couple more games left on the docket. Let's try to squeeze in as many as possible on a Friday edition of Moneyline coming up next.
We don't care what your high school girlfriend told you. You are a winner.
Or at least you will be if you keep it here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
Sports Rage tonight.
In Canada, it's how much money does he make? Oh, I met him at a bar once and he wasn't nice to me. It's effing toxic playing for a Canadian hockey team. The fans are losers. They have nothing else going on in their lives. You know, think about it. You're living in Calgary, Alberta. What the hell do you have going on besides the Calgary Flames?
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Weekdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to SportsGrid, doing our part to spread the winning edge nationwide. Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and our mobile app. Face it,
you're one of us.
One of us.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Giants-White Sox game here. Ralph versus Savali on the mound. Lines 9 across the board here. Minus 166 at the opening number. That's come down a little bit here. I do like Ralph in this game, and I do think they probably beat the Chicago White Sox because Savali is bad. The lineup isn't very good for the Giants on a night-to-night basis. We know that. But the one thing also is Savali's a bad pitcher and gets crushed by right-handed batters. Maybe Heliot Ramos in the middle of that lineup here as a right-handed batter for the Giants does make some sense. So I'll put an asterisk down on that one. Going up against Landon Raup on the opposite side, not a great pitcher here. And by the way, Savali's 23rd on the card today. Landon Raup is 21st on the card today with a higher xFIP number as well. Not a huge strikeout guy. 83-degree temperatures in Chicago. But those White Sox, man, they've hurt me before. I'm telling you they have. They really have. Texas Rangers going up against the Seattle Mariners tonight. Gilbert versus Eovaldi. A 7.5 total and roughly a pick 'em across the board. Gilbert, we talked about. One good start, one bad start here coming out. Nathan Eovaldi making his return to the mound. He was dominant early in the season. We'll see what he does tonight. I'm probably going to lay off that game both ways. Chicago and Houston here. Big-time matchup, which two teams going in the right direction on the season now. Horton, two first-place teams, I should say, too. Horton versus Walter, roughly a pick 'em there, and a total that's listed at 8. Horton, he comes in. Horton, here's a who. Where's he at? Horton. He's 18th with a 3.48 ERA. Not a bad xFIP number at 4.17. Roof's supposed to be open, by the way, tonight in Houston. How about that, people? Let the heat and humidity in. Brandon Walter is going to go up against a lot of right-handed pitch. Where's Walter at, by the way, on the mound? He's second on the card. Who's used to keep finding all these pitchers here? I don't know if I'm going to go with anything in that game. Dustin May, by the way, worst pitcher on the card today, xFIP-wise. 23 innings pitched over the past month. Struggles with lefties. Vinny Pasquantino sticks out like a sore thumb in the middle of that lineup right there. Maybe Jackie Kaggs can get some base hits tonight. A lot of lefties in that lineup. So let's go KC with an asterisk as well. Maybe for a team total look there. Yesterday, good pitching performance out of Clayton Kershaw, by the way. Noah Cameron on the other side. He comes in today on my card. Where are you at, Noah? 19th at a 2.86 ERA, but an xFIP number at 4.37. Versus Ohtani and the boys. I don't know if I'm going to take any of them, but again, 83-degree temperatures there in Kansas City makes some sense. But I do think the sense may be coming a little bit more from a Kansas City side here. Colorado and Milwaukee. Freeland is going to be on the mound tonight, and Kyle Freeland comes in. He used to have a pretty decent number last time I checked him out. Where is he at these days? 14th on the card, a 2.95 ERA, but a higher xFIP number of 3.99. But that Milwaukee Brewers lineup has crushed left-handed pitching. Something has to give tonight. I don't know if we're just going to extrapolate and bend the rules for that one, but you hear me on that. I don't know if it's Helio. I don't know. It could be, Steve. I've actually never heard Heliot Ramos' name pronounced live on the air, to be honest. That's why I just go Ramos. Just to keep it easy at that point. But sometimes pronunciations like the low and lows, I've heard them 50 million times. I never even blink when I say I'm wrong anymore. Just doesn't matter at that point. Let's just see what we got up next here. Rockies, Jose Quintana, terrible xFIP number. 5.76, slippery batter, bad lineup. But they are in Milwaukee. Probably just lay off that game. Washington and LA tonight. Jake Irvin's on the mound. His numbers stink from an ISO power number perspective. 6.15 ERA, 4.55 xFIP number. But that lineup for the Angels hasn't done very well against right-handed pitching over the past month. Joe Adell has done well, but he struck out a lot. Mike Trout's gotten on base, but not a lot of power numbers. Jose Soriano on the other side that's going to pitch against Washington. And Jose Soriano's 5th on the card today. I always like that Washington lineup. Have a soft spot for them. Don't know if I can take them tonight. Yuri Perez, 24th on the card today. 6.17 ERA. 5 xFIP number. A lot of good hitters in that lineup there for the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. And maybe taking a look. Ketel Marte seems like he's always needs to be on my card. I got to check the splits there. But I am going to go AZ with an asterisk there because I want to see the matchups with Yuri Perez versus lefty and righty batters. Merrill Kelly's on the opposite side, 3rd on the card overall today. Even though the bats have really broken out per se for the Miami Marlins, not taking any Marlins on the card tonight. So we do have a pretty good path and a couple nice RBI guys. I told you for the Padres, I love Manny Machado in that game today. A couple guys there on Tampa Bay you can take. I also love Atlanta's Matt Olson. Probably my 2 favorite RBI props of the day. We can have that. But if I have any action tonight, which I know I will, just told you, I bet 2. I'm going to be betting 2 guys automatically today. A lot more should be able to pop up. We'll let that heat and humidity sink in on this Friday and hopefully turn that into some cash payments by the end of the night. But a pretty good weekend setting up in Major League Baseball as the dog days of summer. And next week, people, it's July. Can you believe it? July 1st is on Tuesday. For Chris behind the wheels of steel, I'm your boy Donnie Rightside. Thanks for listening to another solo mission here of Moneyline.
life worth living. Actionable insights, analysis, odds, and expert perspective on sports gaming.
If we do say so ourselves.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.